Hello and welcome! Vintage Super League is back! I'm Randy Bueller. I'm joined by David Williams. Welcome back, David.
Thank you, Randy. So excited to be here. Hope I can make it permanent.
Yeah, a lot of people are rooting for you. We ran the vote on Patreon. You and Reed Duke kept going back and forth as the top vote getter, so people are excited to see you back on VSL. Yeah, welcome. It's funny, I actually reached out to you to see if you wanted to do commentary on the last season of VSL, and you told me you couldn't because, and I quote, I'm sequestered for a major reality TV show.
Yeah, I mean that's
What
pretty
the
much
hell?
that was all I could say at the time.
I
It was
know.
pretty. It
So
was
I, of course, had to speculate. I'm like, which one is he on? Like, is he going to be The Bachelor? Like, is he going to be on Big Brother? What's going on? Turns out it was MasterChef, which is super awesome. Congratulations, dude.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was cool. I mean, the hardest part besides being there was keeping it a secret. I mean, a lot of people. I disappeared for like 8 weeks. People were wondering, what the hell's going on? Where have I been? And I couldn't tell anybody what I was doing or. So it's tough, especially when you have really close friends and they're like, hey, man, what the hell? Why can't you tell me? And they think it's like you're not their friend anymore or you're keeping a secret, but you realize, you start telling one person, word spreads, and next thing you know, the whole world knows. And being on a network like Fox, they're really protective of their properties and they really want everything to be kind of hush-hush until they're ready to release it and announce and advertise and market things the way they want to do it. So I was just excited I could finally announce it and, I can't wait for it to come on and people to watch it. Luckily, it's on Wednesdays and not Tuesdays, so there won't be a conflict because when it's airing, I'm obviously going to do something for it or have viewing parties. But if it was on Tuesdays, that would be tough for the future of VSL. So hopefully, I make it. And my Tuesday nights are VSL, and everyone's Wednesday nights is watching MasterChef.
Sounds like a plan to me. Yeah, obviously, I wish you. It's weird. I want to wish you luck, but some of it, or most of it's already happened. I don't even want to know how it works.
Can't say. Yeah, you just got to watch.
Meanwhile, Vintage is back. So for you guys are joining us, let's run over the format real quick. We've got 12 players playing for 5 spots. So the way Vintage Super League works, whoever winds up tied for last is out of the league. And we had a 5-way tie for last season. So there's only 5 people that are guaranteed to be in Season 5 of Vintage Super League. And these 12 players, 5 of them are going to join us. So it's Luis, Eric, Ochoa, me, and Rich Shea, and then we'll see which 5 of these players. You see the 4 players who are left over from last season, Bob, Steven, Kai, and Tom, get buys. It was supposed to be an 8-person tournament, but once we had, 4 or 5 people get relegated, so let's expand it to 12. We got to put in the top 5 from the Patreon vote, and I'm super excited about this field. I feel like this field is stacked with great Magic players and great Vintage players.
2 questions. What happened to the 5th person? Is it Pakula?
Pakula decided to take a season off. Yeah, Pakula was in the last place tie. He decided he wanted to take a season off. He's just a little burned out. Wanted his Tuesday nights back. So Chris has an open invitation to whatever qualifier tournament for whatever season he decides he wants to come back. Yeah, he's the 5th one.
Nice. And then you said 5 Patreon vote getters, which I noticed, for the viewers, there's 8 others. How are what's the other 3?
Well, we grabbed Shuhei because he won the inaugural 2016 Vintage Championship. The APAC one. The APAC Vintage Championship that started up was won by Shuhei, so we added him in. We added Paul Rietzel because we'd actually invited him to a previous season, but he got married or something. He was on a honeymoon. Didn't make any sense to me. It seems like you got to have better priorities than that. But
just tell your wife, hey, I'm going to play a little Magic on the honeymoon.
Exactly.
When I got married, I played a little Magic at the wedding, before we got started, the day before. So maybe that's why my wedding didn't work. But
And then Nick Koss, we invited in. He is the TO for Eternal Weekend. So we'll get him in the booth. He's going to talk about, I know he just announced Eternal Weekend is actually adding a day. It's going to be in Columbus this year, and that those dates have now been announced. So we look forward to talking to Nick about that. And he's a guy where, he was a Vintage player in the Philly area and really crossed over into being a TO to make sure there were Vintage events for everybody to play in. So felt good about giving him the chance to go back to being a player instead of a TO.
Yeah, I know I know Nick well, and I'm a big fan of Nick. He's a great guy. Love his tournaments. He does, puts on some really good events. I've actually gone to Eternal Weekend when he was holding it, and I had to miss it last year, but I'm excited for the upcoming year. I'm hoping it's a weekend I can go, because having that extra day means you can actually play both, top 8 both, and the days will be a little shorter instead of crazy days. So I'm really excited for what he's doing this year, and it's exciting to have him be part of the play-in today.
So this is the winner's bracket. It's 12 players, double a limb. You see the 2 trophies there. There's 2 spots for just the last 2 undefeateds get 2 of the spots in the league. We can put up the loser's bracket as well. So if you lose, you're not out. You just drop into the loser's bracket, and you see how everybody kind of filters down. This bracket will start, it'll start filling out tonight. We'll see who loses the 6 matches we've got on tap. And then 2 trophies here for sort of the last 2 players standing from the loser's bracket. Well, that's 4 spots. We've actually got triple elimination worked out. So whatever 4 players in, that means there's 8 players who've got picked up 2 losses. They just run a single elim. That'll be our last chance qualifier. That'll be for the 5th spot in the tournament. So short version, whoever you like, whoever your horse is, they're still live to make it into Season 5 until they lose 3 times. And meanwhile, they will use the same deck for the double elim, but that LCQ for the 5th spot is new decks for whoever's still in that one.
Yeah, I'm just excited that there's a lot of Magic to be played. It's not just one single elim 8-man bracket on one night. It's kind of cool. It's almost like the qualifier itself is a little mini season. Because you had a double elim or something like mini season like that once, like season like 3B or something, right? Something
yeah. The one I won, the one that Luis keeps saying isn't canon.
So in a way, it's like we almost have another one of those with like a new group of people, although some of them have played before, but it's almost like a new group. Yeah. We get to see some more vintage experts with Brian Kelly and Andy Probasco, so this is kind of cool. I'm really excited to be part of it.
Yeah, I want to see what decks people are going to turn up with, too. We're now in post-Lodestone Golem world. There's still one Lodestone Golem. I think the Shops deck is still decent, but I don't think it's going to be the sort of omnipresent focus of the format the way it kind of became toward the end of the last Vintage Super League season and on Magic Online as well. So I'm told, I haven't seen the deck list. You haven't seen the deck list. We don't actually know. Well, I guess you know one of them. Maybe you talked to Bob. Maybe you know a couple.
I know Bob's, I know Paul's, and I know my own. And that's only because, we're not playing each other the first round and we're all close friends. So it's like, who cares? We can tell each other because we're going to see it right after we play anyways. Yeah. So Paul and me talked and me and Bob talked. And Caleb and me, right. Not many people know, we're friends, but we talk a lot about strategy and decks. He's helped me on Pro Tours with decks. I respect his deck building a lot. And once we saw we were kind of on opposite sides, he messaged me and was like, hey, good luck tonight. And I was like, man, I hope you make it because I really think he's somebody that would be really interesting in the season and would bring some cool decks. So, I was rooting for him and I was like, hey, what are you on tonight? And he told me, I told him about my deck. And so I know a few.
All right. I don't know anything. I'm rooting for Caleb to be on Survival of the Fittest, but I don't know how realistic that is. Certainly a deck he's had some fun with historically. What I'm told, though, Athena has seen the decks. Our tech producer was the one who collected them, and she says we're in for a fun ride tonight. So and apparently she had a couple times she was asking Eric, what is this deck? What do I call this? What archetype is this? And he's like, that's not a real deck.
I was thinking in her email, she said originally, make sure you put what your deck name is because I'm not familiar with these. But I was thinking in my head, she's Eric's fiance. She could just ask Eric. So I figured Eric's going to get a blast that, hey, check out all these decks.
Indeed. Our first matchup, we are going to be watching Reed Duke against Brassman. Andy Probasco, it's funny. He's just been Brassman forever. I never hear anybody call the guy Andy or Andrew. But we've got real names on our graphics. It's funny, I actually had somebody replied, I posted the field for the play-in tournament to Twitter, and people are like, why didn't you invite Brassman? Andy Prabat, that's him in the lower left of it.
It's interesting because I became a fan of the vintage scene. I would say it was 2006 or 7 when I really started kind of paying attention before it really picked up. And, I remember seeing his name all the time when I was kind of researching and looking at the mana drains and just looking at results. And I was, going to vintage tournaments every now and then, and I remember seeing his name. I know he's a force in this field. He's a very long-time good vintage player, so it's exciting to see, players like him in the field also.
Also, he's the new owner of themanadrain.com.
Yeah, which is interesting. While I was sequestered, I didn't get to go to themanadrain.com, and I was going the other day to kind of see where vintage was to prepare for this, and it looked totally different. My login didn't work. I messaged Steven and I messaged Rich, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? My login doesn't work. It doesn't recognize my email. They're like, yeah, it's Andy bought it. It's a new site. Looks better. Works better. So it's pretty cool to kind of come back to the world after being sequestered and see all the changes in Magic. But Reed Duke and Andy is a matchup, which is kind of like, you've got the hardcore vintage player against the hardcore Pro Tour player, but Reed has lots of vintage experience. I predict he's going to play Storm.
Same.
it's the best it's ever been, I think, right now, and it's the deck he usually plays.
Yeah, he has a top 4 at the Vintage World Championships with Storm a couple of years ago. And, that's definitely a deck he cut his teeth on at the local gaming store level sort of 10 years ago before he was a Pro Tour player. So he's been playing Storm. Like, when he plays Vintage, he tends to play Storm. I'll be surprised if he's on anything else because he knows the deck well. And I'm with you. I think it should be better now than it's been before. I mean, I think that actually it comes down to how good you think Storm is against Mentor. There's clearly a lot of Mentor in the field right now. A lot of people think sort of Gush Mentor decks are the best. And I feel like a really good Storm pilot is advantaged in that matchup. But I think in the real world, it's the Mentor decks tend to win it more often than not.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to come down to the smallest of margins and different deck choices and sideboard choices and play. But I mean, I still think this is the best Storm has been. I mean, you don't have to worry about as much of a shop's presence because without Lodestone, and that naturally preys on Storm, and Dark Petition just makes it so powerful and so consistent. So I would be shocked to see Reed on something else. But hey, Reed's the kind of player, he's so good and so tricky. I could totally see him throw the entire field a curveball and show up with something different. That wouldn't be, out of his range.
Well, sounds like our players are ready. Let's get down to the match. Let's see what these guys are on.